Well, hello there, YouTube. Man, look how pretty that is. There's old Kylie around the corner there. Man, 40 degrees this morning. That's probably the coolest morning we've had, I think, this week, maybe. Man, what was it? One day it was like 50 something out here. Wow, listen there. It's just peaceful Friday morning. Speaking of which, it is Friday, January the 14th. Halfway through January already. Good Lord. Well, come on, you ratty old war wagon. Let's go to work. Look at that, Mama. You can see out them windows nice and clear today. All the way across.
Very nice.
And there won't be no foggy stuff on the inside. Before you know it, that's going to look all lush and beautiful out there. Them pine trees need to get going a little faster. Mama?
Yes.
Made it to Friday.
We did.
It's actually beautiful outside, but once we got down here in Vancouver, there's a big, thick fog layer.
Yep, fog rolled in.
So it's just a...
When it burns off, it'll be pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be nice.
Yes.
All right.
All
Well,
right,
have a wonderful Friday there, Mama.
You too, hubby hub.
All righty.
All right.
Love you. See you. Bye.
I love you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Look what I'm riding. So the customer came by yesterday. Totally cool. Oh, got that suspension stiff. Or maybe it's soft and I'm just too big. The lights are on because he's the exhaust flapper valve. He's got a full acro exhaust, so the flapper valve is not there, and the bike realizes that. And the other thing is it doesn't see the turn signal that's missing. BMW's always checking stuff out. Quit spying on me, BMW. At any rate, had a discussion on what exactly happened and the missing piece. He has that piece. Oh, look at this. Just got to make sure there's no runners. And go out, look at me, I'm going to be the runner. Oh, I am the runner. Ah. Oh. Technically, she turned red while I was still in the... Like I'm worried, you know, and I'll be the one that'll get pulled over. I do have left turn signals, though. It's just the right ones that I've got kind of a problem with. Ooh, this could be frozen back here, too. Speaking of frozen, so what happened to this thing, he was taking himself a nice sunny ride and found one of them little back corners, kind of like I did on my Slim a year or two ago, and hit some black ice. Him and the bike departed. So it landed on the right hand side and it literally ripped that cover off. Knocked it free. So what it did is it knocked that timing gear on the bottom. It's basically kind of like a jack shaft kind of a setup. And so that thing, it has its own dowel. He kept talking about the dowel, and I don't think of that as a dowel. I think, well, anyway, I understand what he was saying. He had to pry it to get it in. So the piece that was broken was part of the crash. And what he was talking about, he had to wedge to get the dowel back in. He was talking about the dowel that runs through that jack shaft, or the actual timing gear that turns the cam chain. Because the crank, I think if you remember looking at the photos and videos of this thing, the crank's down at the bottom, and then the jack shaft is gear driven, which has a sprocket that runs the chain up top. And manufacturers, KTM loves doing that, and I'm sure many others do it as well. But anyway, when the cover came off, that dowel came free, and similar to the dowel that has a little broken piece, half of it's in the cover, half of it's in the engine. So that's not the concern. We got all that together. He actually got it together. I didn't even, other than some burring on the cover because he was having such a hard time getting it on. And I cleaned that up. Got that purdied up for him. So we discussed this thing, and there's about 5 millimeters, and most of it is, you know, well, 5 millimeters of it's perfectly round, and then the piece that's broke away, the other one kind of mostly goes around it. So what I wanted to do was measure and see what kind of, how much that pin moves around. And the reason being, if it's a floating pin and there's, you know, a bit of a gap, I don't want it to drift towards the cover too much and lose some of that bite that it has on what's left in the case. So what I discussed is using a valve shim, figure out what the spacing is. You know, it can't be solid tight. I mean, it has to be some free play in it. Measure everything up and use a shim on the cover to make sure that the pin stays as much in the engine case as it can. Well, as it turns out, there's like less than 1 millimeter of free play. Man, that took some... I measured and I measured and I remeasured and I measured, and as it turns out, there's nothing to shim. I had the thinnest valve shim I had was a 1.75 millimeter shim. It was out of a, I think it was a KTM 990. It could have been one of the motocross bikes. It's a essentially a 7.5 diameter shim. Anyway, I would have to grind the shim to fit in the hole, because the dowel for the cam chain guides, you know, the one that's broke, is exactly 7 millimeters. So it's kind of a precision fit. So the hole is 7 millimeters too. So anyway, it's all... I spent way too much time measuring this thing. I just wanted to be sure, absolutely sure. I don't want that pin floating. So if it's got 5 millimeters and say the pin can move 2 millimeters back and forth, you know, now it's 3 millimeters holding if it moves itself towards the cover. So one of the things I did, you know, that fancy Dow Corning sealer that BMW has us use, before I put the cover on, of course you got to put the sealant on, I took like a flat drift pin type of thing. It's like 4 millimeters in diameter, and I dabbed that Dow Corning on the end of that, because it's flat, and I dabbed it in the hole just at the very butt of it. And I did that right before I put the cover on. I got the sealer all set, and oh, that's nice, lady, guy, whatever, thank you. So I dabbed that in there so it's still wet, and anything that needs to mush out of the way, it'll mush. It won't enter the engine or anything. That hole's like almost 9 millimeters deep. But anyway, that, when that set, you know, let it set up and everything, so that's going to create a little bit of a buffer and make that pin stay there. And then once it tacks up, you know, it's oil and gas resistant, so it's not, the engine oil over time is not going to wash it out. So I kind of created a shim without using a shim. Yeah, I don't want to risk sticking anything in there, you know, to shim that. Plus you got to deal with, you know, if you ever take that cover off again for, you know, down the road, if you have this hardened valve shim in there, if that someone down the road doesn't know that and they pull it off and it falls in that engine hole, which is where I thought the broken piece was in this thing, but luckily the customer seen that, realized it, and has the whole piece. That's super cool. Super nice guy. But he does have the fuel pump recall and this left switch cluster recall. And the recall is related to the turn signal. And he's got turn signal codes going anyway, because the bike realizes that front turn signal's not on there. that attaches to the right-hand cover that's missing. Lovely bikes. These things are animals. They just keep getting lighter, faster, more technologically advanced, and suspension keeps upgrading. Typical stuff, because you know it has to be a production bike that their world superbike is based off of. Them rules are getting tighter. I mean, nowadays the world superbikes are probably more production than not. Oh, I don't have a right turn signal. There's nobody behind me anyway, so let's take an RR down the alley. That's kind of a unfamiliar place, beating around on the back alleys, being a hooligan kind of a area. It seems like racetracks and wide open spaces. They like going fast. Goofing around areas like this is like this ain't super sport here. Riding here, I don't care. It's a motorcycle. Ride it. Look at them dark skies back there. So Kelly has to work the weekend, so I'm gonna try to get home tonight and do a little backyard wash job. I'm gonna pull it out and put it in the carport. And yes, that will clearly be a short run. Got a good wave out of him today. But she's gonna take off and drive all the way down here with it. Any build up. You know, it's got quality oils in there. Sitting out there for a few hours ain't gonna hurt anything before she takes off with a crack old dark early in the morning. It depends on how cold it gets. She just might have to. I might just have to clean her windows. Sorry, honey. I washed your windows though. Safety clean guy is still here. I'm gonna take it. Functioning wise, you know, based on that bulletin, his turn signal switch is working. But, you know, recalls can rear up their ugly head anytime. Turn signals acting erratically is not the safest thing for a motorcycle, especially when people hardly see the turn signals anyway. Turn the needle, son. Young lady, I wasn't going to run you over. If I did, I'd have made it hurt as little as possible. That's the GSA right there, 2022. Whoa. Need to check out the situation on the fuel pump and switch assembly on this thing. Lube this chain too. Man, that thing was bone dry. Thanks for coming along for a rip on the 2013 S1000RR. Some people still have Christmas lights on and stuff. Of course, we should talk. We still got our Christmas lights on too. Anyway, at almost 5:30, we're rolling out. It's Friday for me. It's just another work night for Kelly. She's got to be up at the crack of dark tomorrow.
Yeah.
She's got to be here at 7. So she's got to leave like 5:30.
Yep.
That's crazy. Well, hello there, YouTube. Back to the normal in the car goodbye thing.
Yep.
So I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking, well, I'll leave the Acura and just get me up in the morning. I'll back that thing out for you. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. I might still be building the video by the time she leaves in the morning.
Yeah.
You never know. It's happened.
This is true.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna back the Acura out, put it in the carport thing there. I'll at least do the windows. I was thinking about washing it, but it's probably gonna freeze tonight. And if it freezes, you know what's gonna happen when she tries to open the doors in the morning.
Yeah. They'll go.
Wash your car on a night, it's gonna freeze.
No.
Not a smart thing. The whole thing will be an icicle. But anyway, we're not in the carport. We're facing the house on that little side area. Red barn sitting right outside the door there.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get the girls and I'll go do my thing with the Acura and start my night building the vlog. Or maybe I'll just go to bed and do it in the morning. I don't know.
He hasn't decided yet.
Yeah. You guys are used to it being late on the weekends, aren't you? That's because I go, I'm going to bed.
I'll do it tomorrow.
Gotta have those nights every once in a while you just go, you know what? I just don't do anything. Just go to bed.
I'm just tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that, we're gonna roll.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. We will talk to you tomorrow. Same smoke time, same smoke channel. Don't forget to give her a thumbs up. And you guys have an amazing Saturday or Sunday.
Heck yeah. All right. We'll
And
see
he'll
what
see you in the
tomorrow
morning.
brings. Yeah, it'll be just you and I tomorrow until tomorrow night.
I'll be back.
Yeah, she will return. She goes, I'll just take the old war wagon. I ain't sending you down there with this old clapped out thing. What if something happened, you know?
I know what he worries about.
Yeah. I'm as reliable until you put Murphy's Law in there, you know. It'll be the
Yeah.
time she drives it that something happens, you know. This day and age, you don't need your wife on the side of the freeway with a broke down car. People are crazy out there.
Yeah, they are.
But anyway, see you tomorrow.
See you then.
Thanks for watching now. Bye-bye.